everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be discussing how my first trimester went. Today I am 13 weeks, so I will officially be in my second trimester. So this is probably going to be a lengthier video, more so than like my future bump date videos, only because I'm doing a whole trimester at once, whereas I actually want to start doing like week to week, or maybe like every 2 weeks start doing updates on my bump dates. So it's going to be just a tad longer because there's more to talk about, but as I said in a previous video, if you didn't see when I was telling YouTube that I was pregnant, I've had a really easygoing first trimester, so I don't have a whole lot to discuss, but I did take some notes to kind of go in order of how everything happened, my symptoms, all that kind of stuff, and then I will be showing you my spaghetti bump, I'm calling it right now, because I'm showing like in the slightest bit, but it kind of just looks like I've been eating a ton of carbs just because it's like all uterus and not really much baby right now. But anyway, let's get right into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was I did actually have a few symptoms before finding out that I was pregnant that maybe could have indicated to me that I was, and obviously I didn't know to believe it at the time, but after finding out I was like, duh, like those were symptoms. So a couple of those things were probably like a week and a half after ovulation, I started getting ovary pain, which I do experience like a few days before I get my period, so I really thought it was just that. But it was kind of excruciating. It was definitely worse than normal. It was something that I brought up in my doctor's appointment when I went, because it was concerning to me because I had never felt it so severe before. But obviously finding out that it was just a symptom. Another symptom that I had actually told the doctor as well, I had been telling Ray for about a week before finding out that I was pregnant that I was just very overly tired, like exhausted all the time. And I thought that maybe it had something to do with a hormonal imbalance, and really it was just first trimester symptoms. So the last thing that could have indicated that I was pregnant before finding out was actually probably only like 4 or 5 days before I went to see the doctor and found that I was pregnant, was that I was getting off of my exit to go to my job, and I started getting what I've heard a lot of women get, but again thought nothing of it. I got this taste in my mouth as if I was sucking on a penny, like that metallic taste. It was horrible, but thought nothing of it, but it in fact was a symptom. I'm not gonna go like from week to week per se when I talk about these next few symptoms, just because I don't exactly remember exactly what weeks that they occurred in, but this is generally kind of the sequence that it went in from earliest symptoms to roughly today. So as I said, the earliest symptom, one of them was fatigue, and I mean it was for probably a good 6 weeks that I was just so tired. I was falling asleep at work. I was passing out on the couch at like 7:30 before laying down to go to bed. I was just so tired. There was not enough sleep in the world I could get to give me some energy. I was very, very tired. One of the other symptoms right off the bat after finding out was hunger, and not even so much like where I felt hungry all the time. It was more so like I would eat something and then I was never like fully satisfied. Like I was never full. Like I could just keep eating if I wanted to. Bloating. Bloating is still here today and it's just a lot of bloating, to the point where there are some times that I'm bloating so much that I feel like my rings are tight around my fingers, and I feel like that's gonna be an issue where like I might not be able to wear my rings after a certain point, which is really gonna suck because I feel naked without them, but I know it's only gonna get worse. Another thing right off the bat was frequent urination. The worst part about it was just that, and still is, that I can't sleep a full night without having to get up to pee. I get up every single night between like 2 and 4 a.m. and have to pee and have a full bladder to pee. And that is what it is. I know it's gonna get worse. I was blessed. Thank you. I was blessed to have no morning sickness. I did not puke once. I did have mild nausea, but it was only kind of brought on when I was eating like too fast. Like it was mainly around like dinner time when I would eat a bigger meal than the rest of the day, that I would get like halfway through the meal and I was just like, oh, like I had to take it slow, I had to take a break and then finish eating because I would start to feel kind of nauseous. And the only other time other than that I was getting nauseous was I I had been taking prenatal vitamins for months now, as you guys know, and after finding out I was pregnant, I got a better prenatal vitamin. So I discovered that when I took that vitamin and I didn't eat before I took it, I was very nauseous, near puking. I had to like kind of breathe through it because a couple times I really thought I was gonna get sick, and then as soon as I thought maybe I should start eating with it, it's fine. I haven't felt nauseous with the vitamin since then. So another symptom was mild cramping, and for a very short period of time, it was probably only between weeks like 5 and 7 did I have mild cramping, which is 100% normal. Things are growing and expanding and stretching, and it's very normal. Another symptom I had, which I'm trying to remember, I think was between weeks like 7 or 6 and 9, or like 6 and 10, something like that. I haven't really had much of an appetite at all. So I mean, which is a good thing. I don't overeat or anything like that, but I have to eat every few hours for the health of me and baby. And I was experiencing that my body was telling me that, because if I had gone more than 3 hours without eating, I would start to feel a little nauseous and kind of like that hunger pain, like where you're like that burning in your stomach kind of feeling. So I have to eat every 2 to 3 hours or I don't really feel great. So that's kind of still here today. So I've just been eating small portions of things every 2 to 3 hours, and then the biggest meal I have is dinner. And going back to kind of what I was saying before about the mild nausea in the earlier stages, if I was eating too much too quick, I was feeling a bit nauseous. So I knew just to kind of, when I was eating meals rather than just snacks, I would eat them at a slower pace. Another early symptom that I still have now that isn't that as bad anymore, but for weeks I had it pretty bad, was gas. You could pretty much guess where this is going from here. I was kind of like in competition with Ray of who could fart more. And I was probably winning. Another completely normal symptom. I have acid reflux and I have gastrointestinal issues. So burping was always a thing for me. I constantly burp, and like a man, like as much as Ray farts, I burp. But that's kind of stopped, and it's all just kind of one-sided there anymore. And most recently, between weeks like 8 and 12, I've kind of even lost more of my appetite. I'm rarely hungry at all. I feel like first thing in the morning I'm hungry, and then honestly that's the only time I can really think that I feel hungry. But like I said, I'm always eating and having snacks every 2 to 3 hours, so I might just not be letting myself get hungry, which I don't really want to anyway, because like I said, when I do feel hungry I don't really feel well. So that could be that, I'm not sure. The frequent urination still hasn't changed. If anything, it is getting worse. Baby is not very big right now, so it is mostly just my uterus is very big now. It's very swollen and sitting on my bladder. So sometimes I'll have to pee, I'll feel like I really have to pee, and like not much even comes out. It's just, this is how it's gonna be from here on out. It's just gonna get worse. Again, bloating is still here, alive and well. And I am just expanding, and I don't know if it's bloat. I know it's not weight gain, because I by no means have been eating any worse than I was. I'm eating more frequently, but that's honestly healthier than the way I was eating, because I was eating like three meals a day rather than like the 5 small meals. Oh, one of my least favorite symptoms right now, and I actually forgot to mention I had a couple earlier on and then it stopped for a little bit, and now it's like back tenfold, is dreams, pregnancy dreams, which all of mine have just been really bizarre nightmares, to the point where like I wake up in a sweat, or I wake up crying, or like it's just messed up. I've always had vivid dreams my entire life, very vivid dreams, to the point where I would wake myself up like doing the motion that I'm doing in my dream, but they weren't always bad, so it wasn't the worst thing. I actually thought it was kind of cool that I do dream that way, but now they're equally as vivid, not really anymore, because like I said, they've always been really vivid, but they're just all bad. They're all either scary or sad. They're horrible nightmares. And I've been told it's only gonna get worse, so I'm trying to prepare myself for that. Another thing most recently I've been getting is a lot of indigestion. Like I said, I do have acid reflux, so I do get it here and there, but things that would bring on heartburn and indigestion normally are bringing it on tenfold, and it's Heartburn so much actually isn't too bad, but the indigestion is very uncomfortable. And another thing I know is only gonna get worse as I get bigger. So going along with like expanding, I guess you could say, because like I said, I did gain a little bit of weight in my first trimester. I'm actually gaining it very healthily, my doctor told me, and very slowly, which I know towards the end you start gaining it more and quicker, so I am monitoring that and trying to be good with that. But I am expanding. I have seen it in my face already. People have already commented. They predicted I was before I announced it because they noticed I was gaining weight, which, like I said, I'm not gaining weight like fat. I'm widening. My thighs that have always been thick are now the thickest they've ever been, and it's quite uncomfortable. I'm noticing it in my face. I'm getting like those lines on my neck, and it's just the joys of pregnancy. As far as cravings, see, this is where I'm kind of disappointed because I really don't think I've had any, like, I think I've had one legitimate craving, and that was I was at work one day and I was working by myself and I started tasting in my mouth, like, I don't know if you know those like oven ready Salisbury steaks that are in the gravy. I used to have those all the time as a kid and would have it like over egg noodles with like green beans, and I could taste it in my mouth, and I was just like, oh my god, I have to get this. And I went right to the store after work and I made it for dinner that night, and I was like fiending for it all day. I think that was the only craving I really had thus far. Other than that, I wouldn't call it cravings, but when I do get hungry or do want to eat something, it's normally something salty, crunchy, cheesy. Lots of cheese. I don't know if my body's telling me I need calcium. It definitely shouldn't be because I've always been a cheese fanatic, but I can eat cheese like a mad woman. And actually, as far as like sweet stuff, I've kind of been like really turned off to. Like, I never really want chocolate, which I really am not a huge fan of anyway, but I love ice cream. And I was expecting to be like craving it, and I'm just not. I would rather have a snack, like regular salted potato chips, that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't really call them cravings, but I think it's definitely pregnancy related that I am leaning more towards certain foods than others. Also, one of the symptoms that I had gotten a little bit early on, and then it went away, and then it came back, and then it went away, and then it came back just a couple weeks ago, and now it's away again, is constipation. I think a lot of it might have to do with actually my water intake has lessened, which says a lot for me because I drink a ton of water normally, and I don't know necessarily why I haven't had the desire to drink as much water as I did normally, but I definitely have become very conscious of that and am forcing myself to drink a ton of water a day, so I think that's helping. So that's pretty much all my symptoms that I've had in my entire first trimester. Like, so really it wasn't much. Like, I still don't even really feel pregnant, besides how I'm looking and how I'm still somewhat tired. It is definitely easing up, and I have heard that in your second trimester you're supposed to get like this burst of energy, which I'm praying I get because I am still fairly on the tired side. So then I just wanted to update you guys on some of the stuff that we've been through thus far, as far as like doctor visits and stuff for the first trimester. My first OB appointment, I was seen at 11 weeks and 2 days, and I loved the doctor I was seeing, and I was so sad to find out that she will no longer be there. I think it was her last day and then she was going to retire. She was an older woman, but she was so great, and she let me do things that they weren't even going to do because I was too early according to them, because I was before 12 weeks, but she did them for me anyway. We got to hear the heartbeat, which I didn't post on any social media besides Facebook, and my Facebook is personal, so I will just let you listen to the heartbeat. So that was great because they weren't going to do that because they don't do it until after 12 weeks. But I requested that they try because I don't have another appointment until mid-January. So the woman was like, yeah, of course, I could try for you. She goes, you're not fluffy, so you're smaller, so we could probably definitely get it. And wouldn't you know, it was crystal clear and beautiful, and the most amazing sound I've ever heard in my entire life. The heartbeat was in the 160s, which old wives' tales say that the faster heartbeats between like 150, 160 is a girl, whereas 140s, 150s would be a boy, which is only an old wives' tale, so I'm not going by that, but that was good. She said my cervix looked nice and purple, which it's supposed to right now, and she said everything is just very well. She did a checkup, you know, from head to toe, and she said everything is going perfectly. So that was a very, very, very exciting day for Ray and I. So the last thing I have to talk about before showing my belly is our ultrasound we got. We got to see baby at 12 weeks and 1 day. It was one of the most beautiful experiences ever. We got to see baby and it was so photogenic. We got literally, and even people were telling me it was like the most perfect ultrasound picture they had ever seen. Like it was like posing for us. It was great. And it was just crazy because baby was all over the place, like flipping around. We saw the back, like its spine, it flipped around on one side. We saw its spine, the back of its head, then it flipped around again, and it was like facing the camera with its hand up and putting its hands in its mouth and kicking its legs and putting its arms behind its head, and it was just crazy. And the craziest thing too is I was like, oh my god, like that happens inside of me right now and I don't feel it, which is crazy, and I can't wait till I can. But it was just really great to see that everything is so well. Baby is measuring perfectly for as far along as I am, and just everything looks good. The heartbeat looked beautiful, and now my next ultrasound won't be until I'm around 20 weeks, and that's when we'll find out the gender. So a few weeks away, a couple months away, but it'll be worth it, and time is flying as it is, so I'm sure it'll be here before I know it. If you didn't get to see the ultrasound picture that I posted, it is on my Instagram, so be sure to follow me on there and you can see it. And that's pretty much it, guys. If you want to keep following along in our journey, please subscribe and follow me on Instagram and follow me on Twitter. I don't really post on there, but I post every time I upload a video, so you can get updated that I posted a new one. And yes, so it's just been great, and excuse me, everything is great, and I'm just so excited for the months to come, and I feel so blessed. For anybody who's still out there trying, baby does to you, I pray that you all get your BFP very, very soon. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video, and before I end this, let's look at the bump.